So DICE and EA actually came out with a statement this week discussing some of the changes that they'll be making. DICE addressed a number of problems with its map design, including this statement, which made me laugh. Quote, "We've seen you use terms such as walking simulator to describe how this feels in-game," unquote. Or it's not unquote, sorry. "We understand that this isn't a satisfying experience and agree that there's too much overall travel time. And so as a result, Battle 2042 is shrinking some of the maps and making adjustments. They did post on their blog side-by-sides showing a prototype new version of the map versus the way it is currently now.
Yeah.
Two questions. Can Battlefield 2042 be saved at this point, Jordan the Man?
Yes.
And is there problem the 128 player spawn?
Yes.
Yes and yes to both
Yes
of
and
those.
yes. So I'll be honest. You can go back and listen. I was super excited about 128 players. I was the more the merrier. Let's do this. And to be fair, when you're, just watching on screen right now, when you're in the middle of a map and there's 100 people in front of you and a tornado sucking up half of them, it is kind of an experience to see. But from my experience of the game, and being honest, I did fall off the game fairly quickly because other stuff came out. I still play the game, but from my experience, 128 sounds fun and it seems great on paper, but it just doesn't quite work in game. I find myself when I'm playing Battlefield 2042 now, they added a 64 player playlist, which is your 32, 30. Yeah, I think that is the sweet spot. Adjust the map sizes, all new maps going forward. Revolve them around 64 players, so that's 32 versus 32. You'll still get that Battlefield experience without the walking simulator, obviously.
Yeah,
and you'll still get that Battlefield feel, but I think it'll feel better because, like I said, I really was for the 128 players, but after experiencing it, there is too much at a certain point.
Yeah,
and I think 128, 64, 64.
Spicy always says this: just because you can
doesn't mean you should.
Doesn't mean you should.
Yep. Yeah. And like I said, I still think obviously we have gotten the Battlefield experiences with 64 players because that's what the previous games were. But I think 64 is the sweet spot for Battlefield. 32 on 32. When you go back to Portal, which I would venture to guess that Portal is their most popular mode, everybody's going back and they're playing Battlefield 3. They're playing Bad Company, which are smaller player counts. So it just goes to show you that maybe people don't really care about player, from my perspective, maybe people don't care about player counts as much as the core gameplay itself and how the map, gameplay, and vibe feels.
It's probably just incredibly difficult to balance a map and get the right feel at that player count.
Yeah, it is. I personally, and people can disagree with me if they want, I think they should axe 160 or 124 and just go 64 or 64 player matches, and then all future, tailor the maps obviously to that, which I think they've already done because we know the old consoles are only 64, so that shouldn't be too difficult for them. And then all new maps going forward, just tailor around that number. The other big thing I think they need to do is, okay, this is a difficult topic for me because I like it and I don't like it, but we're gonna the specialist system. I like the specialist system. I like the idea of you have a character who has a set kind of role or ability, like for example, Flak has the dart gun, and what's the guy with the grappling hook? I forget his name. McKay has the grappling hook. I like that idea, and all the specialists do branch off of assault, engineer, medic. That I'm fine with. I love the fact that any character can carry any weapon. I like that you can set your own weapons, that your weapons aren't locked to your class. What I do think they need to do is they need to have some resemblance of that class system. For example, if you're playing a support specialist, which would be Flak, and I think there's one other support specialist, they should only be able to use certain gadgets. For example, like only supports should have med packs, or only supports should have whatever medical supplies. Casper, the sniper class, only he should have the sensor grenade. You know what I mean? Then at least you kind of get that feel of, okay, it's not a traditional Battlefield class, but I do still fulfill a role. Because how you get it now is everybody's playing, the wingsuit because she's the most powerful, or McKay, or you know what I mean? You're only playing certain characters because they're the meta. You know, they're the and it just doesn't have that Battlefield feel because you don't have your engineer class taking out the tanks, your medics making sure everybody's up to health, your assaults going in and taking the flag. I think if you make some gadgets, I'm not saying weapons, I really like the freedom of weapons, but if you make some gadgets like anti-tank mine or C4 only available to certain specialists that fall within those class categories, I think that would be a really welcome improvement in my opinion as well.
So to summarize, can Battlefield 2042 be saved?
Yes, I think it can.
There you go.